In this WrestleTalk news, could Bray Wyatt return to WWE this week? Malakai Black wanted to return to WWE. Could Sting be the next leader of the House of Black? And Luke reviews last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. Subscribe and enable notifications to Always On for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Triple H has brought back a lot of things since he took over WWE's creative team following the retirement of his father-in-law, Vince McMahon. He's brought back Johnny Gargano, Dakota Kai, Karrion Kross, Hit Row, Braun Strowman, and Dexter Lumis, and he even brought back everyone's favorite main eventer, watchable weekly TV. Someone he is yet to bring back is Bray Wyatt, who was one of the most shocking releases from Vince McMahon's reign of errors, and is someone who hasn't wrestled a single match since departing the company back in July 2021. Bray being Bray, he's tweeted a lot of random crap, and each time we've said to ourselves, yes, this picture of a goat means he's definitely back on Raw next week. But this time, he's definitely coming back. Maybe. If you've been watching Raw and SmackDown over the past few weeks, you will have seen red lights and heard the song White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane played at random points. Unsurprisingly, some have taken the red light as a sign Wyatt is back, and judging by something that happened on last night's Raw, he actually really might be this time. During a segment with Austin Theory, a QR code could be seen in the background, and if you scanned that code, you'd be sent to a screen featuring animation of a game of Hangman with a white rabbit. Hangman Page WWE confirmed. The clue for the game of Hangman is who killed the world, with the answer being, you did, and that's exactly the sort of random bollocks Bray Wyatt would say. Not only that, but the rabbit's first 5 guesses were D, E, M, O, and N, which the smartest viewers will have noticed spells out Bray Wyatt. Sorry, I mean, it spells out demon. And the final clue that he's not only returning, but returning this week on Friday Night SmackDown is that the numbers 9/23 kept popping up. We're going by American dates, which are written backwards. That's September 23rd, which is this Friday. It's all very spooky, and it's all very Bray Wyatt. And speaking of spooky, it seems that one of AEW's biggest spooky boys recently wanted to return to WWE. Malakai Black is currently taking some very well-earned time away from the world of pro wrestling to focus on much more important things like life. Black posted a long statement explaining his decision to take time off, and that in that statement he revealed he did indeed request his release from AEW, and that he didn't feel as though creative promises were being fulfilled. Speaking during the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer revealed that not only did Black request his release, he also very much wanted to return to WWE. Black, who has only wrestled 2 single matches for AEW in all of 2022, still had a very long time on his AEW contract when he asked for his release. And Dave emphasized how hard it would have been for AEW to keep someone under contract for several years while they were keen to leave. But what does Black's AEW departure mean for the House of Black? Well, it might have a new leader already. According to the ever-reliable reporter, Twitter speculation, Sting might be positioned as the new leader of the House of Black. Sting and Darby Allin take on the House of Black on tomorrow night's episode of AEW Dynamite, and with Tony Khan copywriting the House of Black last week, it seems the group will be used despite Malakai Black's departure. It could be that AEW is planning on having the 2 teams wrestle and then for Sting to be revealed as the new Overlord, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Before we get on with the rest of the episode, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this video's sponsor, Manscaped, the premium brand for men's grooming and hygiene products, and they're letting our viewers get 20% off and free shipping at our super special link, manscaped.com/WTTV. And you'll want to go over there right now, as they've released their 4th generation razor, the Lawnmower 4.0 and Ultra Smooth package. Move aside, 3rd generation Randy Orton, we've improved you! The new 4.0 razor is cordless and waterproof, with a new amazing wireless charging station that gives you 90 minutes of use on a full charge. It's the future! I got mine months ago and I've still only charged it once. And with its handy travel lock feature, you don't have to keep explaining yourself at the airport. No, my dildo is in the other bag. The Ultra Smooth package complements it perfectly with its easy 3-step shaving system of the crop exfoliator, crop gel and crop shaver with 5 replacement blades. So get 20% off plus free international shipping at our special link manscaped.com/WTTV to get sexy like me. Please at least give it a click, as everyone helps support us here at WrestleTalk. Your balls and I Well, thank you.
And now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka check out the Big Heat on Dom edition of Monday Night Raw in about 5 minutes. I don't quite know what to make of this week's Raw, which emanated from the Bay Area of California. The crowd were really hot on some occasions, but dead for the most part. But then insanely hot for one particular moment. And as for the show itself, well, it didn't really further a lot of much of anything, but it did feature a lot of wrestling. However, the majority of that wrestling was just fine, I guess? A good example of that was this opening match between Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins for the United States Championship. It was given a lot of time, taking up nearly the first half hour of the show including entrances, but it didn't really get going until the final third. The first bits of the match, which went through 2 commercial breaks, was just stuff. Seth did some moves, Bobby did some moves, Seth reversed some moves, Bobby reversed some moves, but then all of a sudden Seth hit a pedigree out of nowhere when Bobby Lashley went for the spear and the crowd exploded. It was a tremendous spot and a really great near fall. After a ref bump and low blow, Seth set up for the stomp, but Matt Riddle came out to cause a distraction and Bobbles hit the spear for the win. It was a neat continuation of Rollins and Riddle, which had 2 more segments in this show, but it also asked the question, what is Bobby Lashley? Honestly, when was the last time Lashley actually had a storyline? Since Trips has taken over, he's just defended the belt in other people's feuds. It's been great seeing the US champion be dominant, and dominant over established names, which is more than Wardlow can say, but it all feels a bit empty. Damage Control had a championship celebration where the commentators made sure we all tried to forget the misstep of not having them win the finals of the tag tournament by only mentioning all the matches that the group have won since SummerSlam. And this is one of those instances where WWE wants us to forget about a mistake they made, and I am happy to do so. Bianca Belair and friends came out to banter back and forth, and it set up Bayley versus Bliss for later on in the evening. Kevin Owens and Austin Theory's promo segment from last week was easily the highlights of the whole show, but the matchup here was totally fine. There just wasn't much to it, and Owens won again when Johnny Gargano distracted Theory by grabbing his briefcase, allowing KO to hit the pop-up powerbomb for the win. So that's 2 matches and 1 big segment on the show so far, and it's all been okay television. Nothing that's been unmissable. It's a huge improvement over what we've had over the last couple of years, don't get me wrong, but nothing has felt must-see. And then we got a lengthy promo segment hyping up the fact that Roman Reigns is showing up for work this Friday, and Logan Paul has challenged him for the Blue Universal Championship at Crown Jewel. And you remember, oh yeah, the big problem with part-time Roman having both belts and only ever appearing on SmackDown means that there is a huge hole in Raw that hasn't been filled since Mania. Everything on the show was good and everyone is trying hard, but none of it feels like it matters a huge amount. And that was really seen in the next match. SmackDown's brawling brutes of Butch and Ridge Holland came out for a promo, brand split LOL, and hyped up their match this Friday against the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, who were then interrupted by Street Profits, who wanted a match and probably some smoke right now, which they had, and it was pretty decent because of course it is look who's in the ring, but the crowd had 0 heat for it. Like they were totally dead for anything the Brutes were doing when they were beating down Montez Ford. Then all of a sudden broke into a "this is awesome" chant for about 5 seconds because the Street Profits hit a blockbuster. It was the oddest thing. What wasn't odd, however, was Brawling Brutes picking up the win. Simple and effective booking to give them a win and some momentum before their title match this Friday, so this gets a big thumbs up from me. Owens and Gargano accepted a tag team match against Alpha Academy for next week, which will be in Canada, so that will guarantee to be great fun. But then came the most surprising thing on the show. The Judgment Day came out for a promo, and it was your standard Judgment Day promo. We control Raw. We run the show. We made Dominic a man, etc., etc. It was all perfectly normal stuff, and then the microphone was handed to Dominic to speak, who looked like he was about to bring me some extra breadsticks before apologizing that my main will unfortunately be another 20 minutes, and the crowd exploded with this insane heat for him. And clearly loving what was happening, Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest came alive and worked the crowd into an even bigger frenzy, so big they drowned out what Dom was trying to say, which really was nothing, but the crowd reactions made it feel like the biggest promo of the night. It was fantastic. This crowd may not have enjoyed a lot on the show or been into much, but they sure hated Dom and they sure loved Ray. California and all that. Judgment Day then had a match with Rey Mysterio and Matt Riddle, which saw Balor and Priest win after some Seth Rollins interference and distraction on Riddle, and Dom distracting his father by asking him to give him an unprotected chair shot. He's hardcore. He's hardcore. Riddle and Rollins then tried to fight each other backstage, with Riddle challenging Rollins to a Fight Pits match at Extreme Rules. Raw Underground return confirmed. Speaking of crazy fan reactions, and Dexter Lumis got a huge babyface pop when he popped through the mat like Diglett in the Miz TV segment. He tried to drag Miz down into Little People's Court, but Ciampa made the save. But like a whack-a-mole, Dexter popped up to an even bigger pop. But this storyline isn't for me, as I mentioned last week, but you cannot deny the crowd reactions it gets. And if it's working for the crowd, then clearly WWE are doing something right. And yes, I did say babyface pop, because last week I mentioned how Dexter Lumis, a man who invaded the Miz's home while his kids were asleep, was somehow the babyface in the storyline. That prompted several of our viewers to ask me why I thought he was the babyface. After all, he invaded a man's home while his kids were asleep, for sake. Well, I reached out to Sean Rossap over at Fightful to ask him if Lumis was listed as a babyface internally in WWE, and it turns out he is. So yeah, he is the babyface in this storyline. He's a weird one, but it is working. And the main event saw Bayley beat Alexa Bliss in a pretty decent match, which had lots of interference and distraction from Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. And I'm really concerned this is going to continue until November so they can do War Games. WWE put on a video package before this match to put over Alexa Bliss, and that was needed because she hasn't done anything since coming back in February and then returning again in April. And it didn't really help though, as Bayley's home area crowd just wanted to chant for her, both positively and negatively. Bayley won with her finish, and her group beat down the other baby faces to stand tall. Yeah, this episode of Raw was totally fine, but not must-see TV. Maybe it was less than fine, but it certainly wasn't a terrible wrestling show by any stretch of the imagination. Tell you what it was 3 out of 5.